Well, we're really excited about getting into the championship season. We've had a good racing season this year. I think the team has come together really well. We've raced some top caliber teams. We had a really challenging racing schedule this year, both back-to-back time and just with the caliber of teams that we raced. So we're pretty confident going into the championships. Our goal is to keep getting faster and hopefully earn a bid for the NCAA championships. So the interesting thing about this year's Big Tens is that because of the way the double duels set up and everybody's racing schedule is set up, we didn't have a lot of crossover between the western end of the Big Ten and the eastern end of the Big Ten. So that's going to be kind of interesting. And the seeding was a little challenging because we haven't had that crossover. So, seeding is sort of irrelevant. It does put you into heats, but, we're looking forward to getting out on the race course and going up against the best in our conference.
So Indianapolis, this has been the venue for how many years now? Is it comfortable down there? Do you feel comfortable with that course?
Yes. Familiarity is always nice. We've been pretty fortunate. We've been there 5 or 6 years now, I think. And the NCAAs have been there for years as well. The good thing about Indy is that it's fair. The bad thing about Indy is that its nickname is Windy Indy, and we have it can be really windy. The forecast for this weekend isn't awesome, and now that we've gone to a heats and finals format again, which happened when Rutgers joined the Big Ten, since we have 8 schools participating, we have to go to heats and finals because Indy can only handle 7 lanes. That's one thing we're pushing with Devil's Lake is that it's an 8-lane course. So that would get us back to a finals-only format. But you can usually find some period of time in a weekend where you can get in 2.5 hours of racing. But now that we're heats and finals, that adds a complication, plus the fact that it's finals weekend. We don't race Saturday morning. We race Saturday afternoon to let teams get there that are still in finals. So familiarity is nice. We know what it's going to do. It's fair, and it's there. So we're going.
So it sounds like the wind that they may face and the heats that they'd have to go through to get to the finals, this team has the makeup to deal with all that stuff.
Absolutely. Nobody likes to row in crappy water, and there's this fallacy that if you practice in crappy water all the time, that you should be good in racing at it. And my theory about that is if you practice crappy in crappy water, you're going to race crappy in crappy water. So it doesn't really matter. But I think these guys can pretty much handle anything. We're not huge, so a ginormous headwind would not be to our advantage, but they know how to row. And they know what it takes to get down the course fast, regardless of the conditions. And that's something that we've also worked on, is that there's no excuses here. It's just them and the boat. And, everybody's got the same conditions. That's a good thing about Indy. And the good thing about Lake Natoma, everybody has the same conditions. So you either do it well or you don't. It's completely up to you. And they get that. There's no excuses.
You mentioned the schedule change for finals. Obviously, Wisconsin's in finals this week.
Yeah.
What do you train right now with Big Ten's this weekend? You have to do well, and then also NCAA in 2 weeks from there. Do you taper? How does that work?
That's a really good question, and it's a hard question because ideally you can't taper for both. Period. So if you have to taper for Big Tens to get selected to NCAAs, you're probably not going to get faster at NCAAs. But if you don't taper at all, and you should have, and you don't make it, then you don't win the Coach of the Year award. So, it's a toss-up. The whole finals thing just adds a whole layer of planning, plus the wind. So where are we going to row, at what time, with which boats, and will they all be there? The good news about having lineups set early is that we're not doing seat racing. We know who's got finals when. We have 4 different scheduled practice times today at different locations, depending on what the wind is supposed to do during the day. Yvette's staff is scouting nerds. We are weather nerds. we all know where the wind's blowing, which way, and which side tends to be right more than the other. And the fact that none of them are doesn't help us very much. But you know it's a problem when your lake shows up on the International Windsurfing website as a place that they've got data on, which it does. So we're working through this. We're working through Big Tens as much as finals will allow us to. It's sort of it's an automatic taper because we're only working them together maybe an hour and a half a day max. They need to focus on their academics right now. They've done enough work. We've gotten the work in. All we're going to do is polish now. I told them we could not row all week and we'd be fine. That's how good they are, and how ready they are. So now hopefully they don't start freaking out about that because that may be the case.